Hey, good evening. What's up, everybody? Good evening. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It is 8:02. Sorry for my 2 minutes of tardiness. But we are here. We are ready to kick this thing off and ready to go. Hope everybody had a great day. Hope everybody had a great day. I had a pretty good day. Short week. Went to see my son for Thanksgiving in California and got back on Tuesday. Got back on Tuesday, and y'all, I've been just dragging a little bit. That time difference is only like 3 hours, but yeah, it kind of caught me. It kind of got me. So, but I'm getting all caught up. I finally went into work today. Finally went into work today. But good evening, y'all. Welcome. Welcome to the Real Life Relationship Growth Get Together, chat it up, meeting time, hang out. Welcome to the couch, y'all. Welcome to the couch. Yo, I love the new studio. Like, I really love coming in here. Sometimes I come in here during the week just to be in here, just to be in here. No real apparent reason, just to be in here. But I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. Hell, let me start out by doing my normal thing. Let me start out by doing my normal thing because I worked on this thing, y'all. So because I worked so hard on it, I want to make sure that um I get a chance to play this. Let me go ahead and play this for you guys cuz I always introduce it like this. The intro. All right, all right. Okay, y'all. Let me do real quick. I'm being told that we're not showing live on Facebook. Let me see what's going on. Let's try to get this thing up. It should have started automatically, but being that it did not, um, let me go in here and try to fix something real quick. So I am going to, let's see, here we go. This should be it. Should be it. All right. Hopefully we are good and we are live. Corey, let me know. Corey is my girl in the backdrop. Corey, let me know if you're seeing us on Facebook. Let me know what you see on Facebook, Corey. Are we good on Facebook? I'm sorry, y'all. Give us a second. Our little technical difficulties. My mom trying to call. She does it every time, y'all. She does it every time. Okay. I think we're good on Facebook. I think we're good on Facebook. My apologies. Let's go in the chat. Okay, good to go. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So we're going to get started here. We're going to get going. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. And I always like to let you guys know if there are ever any issues, please, please, please just go over to YouTube. If you go over to YouTube, if there are ever any issues with Facebook and the setup is not working, we're going to slide over to YouTube. But I think we are good. I think, yes, we're good. I see us. All right, y'all. Again, my apologies. Welcome to the Real Life Relationship Growth Get Together. My name is Donna. What's up, everybody? So, listen, I always like to say this and get started this way. I am not a relationship expert. I am not. I don't have any degrees in this thing. All I have, all I have are life experiences. I'm a black woman living this life, enjoying myself, doing the damn thing, and enjoying myself in the process. That is who I am. I have had some life experiences that have taught me lessons. Either it's given me something or it's taught me something that I need to throw away. And that's what I do with it. I don't believe in sitting in bitterness and anger and all of that stuff. We can communicate, we can talk, we can either move on or we can grow together. And that's what we are here for. Real life relationship growth is about growing, is about growing. So, every Thursday, y'all, every Thursday we are here. Every Thursday, unless I announce and let y'all know that we're not, we are here every Thursday. I really, really, really appreciate it if you guys would go over to YouTube and subscribe to the page, hit that bell icon, and be ready for anytime we ready to go live and we ready to chat and talk and discuss, because that's what this is about. So I'm gonna get started, y'all, because I don't want to be labeled a moment. We're gonna get started. I want to bring my crew on. I don't even like to say my guest or whatever. Like this is my crew. These are my people. We have connected in so many different ways and met in different arenas of our lives. And now these are my brothers and my sisters. I'm going to bring first and foremost, I'm gonna bring my girl Corey B on. Hey, what's up, Corey? You ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Ooh,
Ooh,
ladies first. Ladies first.
ladies first. We came up with that little thing, it just connected and we do it all the time. Now, my girl Crystal, what's up, Crystal, over on the West Coast?
The West Side?
West Side. What's up, Crystal? Crystal is in LA, y'all. Crystal is in LA. So, when I say the crew, there is a crew of us, and I am really, really grateful for these people. We connected in different ways, and everybody has the same thought process of life, meaning growth in relationships. So anytime I reach out to them and I be like, yo, y'all, this is the topic we doing, they like, I'm there, I'm there. If they're not here, it's for various reasons. So I have to give the shout out to my boys, The Husband Show Podcast. The Husband Show Podcast. I have to give a shout out. I don't know if Mr. Perry is going to grace us tonight with his appearance. Vince called in and let me know brother got to get some sleep. He's a truck driver, so we want him to get his proper sleep. So he won't be on with us tonight, but he's going to watch tomorrow and make his comments. But my girl Rose from Mannheim and my boy Finley from Mannheim. Not sure if they're going to make it on tonight, but if they do, we're going to let them pop on in and join us on the couch. But we do have a new face tonight, y'all. We do have a new face tonight. Let me just bring this brother on, and then I'm going to do his intro. Let me just bring him on. Mr. Joshua.
Mhm.
Hey, hey,
Hi,
hey.
guys.
All right, y'all. So yeah, we have a new face on tonight. Let me read this a little bit. I need to read this. I was gonna kind of paraphrase this thing. I was just gonna kind of shoot from the hip, and I'm still gonna do that a little bit. Josh, it's
Please
okay.
do.
Okay,
Please do. Please do.
I'm still okay. I will still do that a little bit, but let me say this about this gentleman. I met Joshua. Who my oldest is 32. The youngest is 27. I think we started going to church together when Charisma was about 4 or 5 years old. So
Yes.
it's been a minute. It's been over 20 years that I've known this brother. And we never really talked a whole lot. We would see each other and be like, hey, give them Sabbath hugs and stuff like that. But over the years, with the glory of social media, we kind of more involved in each other's lives at this point. And Joshua, y'all, is one of those men that send some really, really good topics. Some really, really good topics for discussion. So I used to say all the time, I would applaud the brothers because I had a lot more men participating in the RLRG page than women, which was surprising. But it was lovely. It was great because a lot of times women want to hear the men's perspectives and brothers usually don't hone in on stuff like this.
Mhm.
But I was pleasantly surprised that they really were, and a lot of my topics came from the men. This topic, particularly tonight, this brother shared this topic with me. And I was like, yo, we got to sit down and do this one. We got to do this one. And Corey B, y'all, is a historian. She studies history. So I had to have my girl on tonight with this topic. So Mr. Joshua Presley is an Atlanta native that professionally works in the IT field as a security supervisor for Wellstar Health System. His passion, however, is both in writing and speaking on subjects that he feels matters to Black people, and in particular, Black Christians. He is the author of 3 books. Yes, sir. A book of poetry, Into My World, a novel about church scandals, The Pastor's Diaries, and a memoir, Elder. He is married to Dr. Let's say that.
Right.
To Dr. Janice Presley, and has 3 children, Joy, Joshua II, and Miss Jubilee. Miss Jubilee.
Yeah, Miss
All
Jubilee.
right. All right. Josh, I'm gonna pause for a second and let you kind of greet and kind of, come on in the room.
So thank you for having me on. I appreciate you guys for allowing me to enter your space. I know that I'm a new face, but I have been watching and peeking my head into the room every so often, kind of dropping some comments and then kind of scooting on my way. But I'm just here to give my little perspective as much as I can and make sure that we engage in some healthy conversation and debate.
Yeah. Yeah. Most definitely. So important. Yeah, I knew it was gonna happen. Hold on. Hey Rose.
Hey, fam. How y'all doing?
Hey babe, how are you?
Can't complain.
I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
glad you made it. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So hey, you all. The chat should be showing up to the right, and I see that it is not. So I do have my Facebook up on the Android. And Corey, I think we're good. With Facebook up on the Android, I can catch those comments. And I'm really, really hoping that the video that I'm going to play will play over as well. I'm really hoping that it is going to play over because I'm not seeing the comments from Facebook. But you guys do me a favor, please. Even though we're showing on Facebook, do me a favor. Can y'all please come on over to YouTube? If you're able to, can y'all please come over to YouTube? Because I don't want to miss anyone's comments. And I don't want to keep doing like this. I want to be in the room. I don't want to keep doing like this, fading out on y'all. So if y'all could come over to YouTube, I would really, really appreciate it. Come over to YouTube. Deontay, hey babe, Auntie loves you too. I love you too. Nicole, what's up, lady? Hey, Melissa. Hey, Mr. Hobbs, I see you. Sir. All right, y'all. So again, if y'all can come over to YouTube, I greatly appreciate it. If not, keep on stay on Facebook. You can stay with us there. Rose, how was your day, my dear?
Good. Busy as usual.
Good.
Days today. So yeah.
Okay. All right, y'all. So we are going to get into this video. I want to show of course our topic tonight. Our topic is Black women. Do they really hate us? Ha. Black women, do they really hate us? All right. So I'm going to show this video because this is kind of the center of our discussion tonight. Let me get this thing right cuz y'all know be patient with a sister. All right. Let me show this video here.
What's the narrative that we hear about Black men?
They don't get married.
No. They don't like who?
I apologize. Let me switch this, y'all. Hopefully. All right. It's not going to switch for me, but it'll work. Here we go.
What's the narrative that we hear about Black men?
They don't get married.
No. They don't like who?
Oh, they don't like black women.
women.
Well, yeah,
The national average for black men who are married, what are they married to?
it's got to be black women.
Black women at what percentage?
Ooh.
Over 85%. But it don't matter though, because once they make money, that's when they go get white women.
White women, yeah.
The national average for making over $200,000, black men, right? How many of those men are married to black women?
I'll give him about a cool
95%.
95.
I believe it.
I do believe it. And then when you hear the horror stories, we got to talk about Scottie Pippen.
Girl.
Lex has a good point though, because they'll show the Scottie Pippen, right? And they'll say, look, this is how black men behave.
Yeah.
But that's not the fact. Destroying the black family has been on the forefront of the mind of the people who created this country. How do you destroy the black wealth in this country?
Yeah.
Destroy the black family. Make black women think that black men don't love them. Make black men think that black women don't respect them. That's all a fallacy. It's not true. The older I get, I'm 40 years old now, the more I realize that everything I've learned from mass media has been programmed by people who have an agenda.
So I see the video is playing on Facebook. It is playing on Facebook. It seems like a little bit of a delay, but we're gonna go. We're gonna keep going. All right. Everybody heard the video? Everybody heard pretty well. I did post a video on the Facebook page yesterday. So hopefully those who are viewing, you got a chance to see the video. And I'm going to do this real quick. I want to shout out my boy Christopher. I call him Smiles, y'all. He knows that's our little inside joke. Christopher Elmore. Christopher posted the video to the Real Life Relationship Growth page, he said, at some other time, and it was deleted. And I let him know today, I don't know how that happened. I actually put the videos on the page. I have to approve them because I don't want anybody just throwing anything on there, right? But I never saw this video. So Christopher, I apologize if you shared it to the page and I did not see it and I did not present it. But this is your moment, brother. I asked him to be on tonight, so I don't see him popping up, but hopefully he'll view later. Because he said he did post a video and he said it was deleted. Again, I don't know how that happened. All right, so let's go. Let's get popping with this thing. Let's get started with this thing. Anybody want to start? Anybody? Corey, I know you kind of itching, but I want y'all to go ahead and give y'all take and y'all feedback on what y'all think about what was said. Anybody's welcome to get started. Okay. Y'all gonna make me call y'all out. Y'all know how y'all do in class. You're sitting there, you be like, don't call on me. But Corey, I'm definitely no, I take that back. I'm gonna start with Mr. Joshua. Yeah. You know why? I'm gonna start with you, brother.
I kind of felt like it was coming my way.
You did. Yeah.
Just from my perspective, I think that there's a very big misconception among people, especially in our community, of what success looks like. And if you deal with the historical topic of success, what is success? How do we break down success? And in a lot of instances in the past, success was obtaining the trophy wife that would be considered a white woman in some circles, right? So a lot of the reason why people automatically believe that black men are going to do that is because they have had examples in the past that showed black men doing that. But when you look at the number of examples that are there, it's small in comparison to the number of black people that live in America. You know, there's about 42 million people in the country, right? So if you take that 95% of those that are making, let's just say 95% of those that are earning over $200,000 are married to other black people, it shows that that perception has never been reality and will never be reality. But whenever those situations are presented, for some reason, because of the way media operates, those individuals are definitely placed in a position to be seen constantly. And you know that the Bible talks about by beholding we become changed. So that perception, even though it's minuscule in number, because it's promoted and displayed so often, it is automatically believed as the standard. So a lot of people, and you can see it in the industry where a lot of men only date the same type of woman. It's like the exact same woman carbon copied throughout that circle, or they, and I hate around, they end up dating, this person dated the same person, and then the next person got their turn, and then the next person got their turn, and it's all the same woman in that circle. And it's because they have fed into that belief that this is how you're supposed to do it. But again, it's only a small number of people.
Okay.
And that's what I
Okay. All right. Josh came out the gate running. All right, Miss Corey, what you got?
Okay. Everything you said was wonderful because as you were speaking, I was writing stuff that you ended up saying. So thank you for that. I was going to say the misconception comes with the loudest voice saying XYZ. And because of what he said, and the same thing you said, media does this thing. And sometimes we do this thing where what's publicized is what's out there. It's almost like, I don't know if you guys ever heard the saying, the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
yes.
So you hear this voice saying this thing and it's echoed. And now with social media, it makes it even worse because people see, oh, this made money because people are watching it. Not because people agree, but they're staying around long enough to comment and dislike it or whatever they're saying. It still generates money. So other people are like, oh, well, I'm going to start doing what they're doing. So now you have a lot of people saying a whole bunch of stupid stuff and it's just echoing. And then when I see kids in the classroom, they're talking about, oh, yeah, be like this person. Don't be like that one. But they're quoting these really toxic people that are doing kind of the same thing, right? When you talked about they date the same kind of woman, Scottie Pippen's wife is an example. I don't know who left who, but she has pretty much run through the NBA as though there are no other women other than her. And I think also, I would love to know the statistics about the super wealthy because 200,000, that is wealth. But the men who are making more than that, I'm curious to know because the ones we see, that's who it is. It's typically not women that look like their moms and their sisters and their aunts or whatever. It's usually someone else. So I'm curious about that because it's almost like, oh my gosh, you've made it. Here's a white woman. But that's what it looks like. But there are a lot of people who like to keep their wealth to themselves and not be in the media and the spotlight. So I'm curious to know the stats on that. Right, the limelight. But yeah, I get it. I agree with everything you said.
Okay.
But
I also think it's about.
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I also think it's about never having that, right? White women being taboo. So the only thing that was available to men as they were growing or going through their, learning themselves, getting better jobs, being successful at each different level, they were only maybe Black women were available. So then they get to this epitome, this top-notch area where they're like, now I can get me a white woman. Now I'm in a position where I can do that, where that's a misconception in itself. You know what I'm saying? So you are saying that you're only successful because you made it to a point where you can have a white woman?
Right.
What is that saying about yourself as a man? See it. It's almost like I've never, let me try that. Let me get to a place where I can get myself involved to even be on that level, to feel like I've
arrived.
Yes.
It's the illusion of inclusion. I agree with what everybody has said. And when you talk about reaching that epitome of made it, it's somehow, I think, in a lot of men's minds, maybe balances the playing field. However, false that may be, but they're like, now I can go on the golf course because I got everything they got. I've got the car, I've got the house, I got the money, I can get the membership. Now I've got one of theirs. And I think it's just been perpetuated ever since slavery. You know,
Yes.
lighter next to the what do they say? Lighter, brighter next to white is better, something like that. But I think that's that's again part of the stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
And
how do you
you
think
wanna
that
say
makes
something?
us feel? Right?
Right.
As Black women, where does
Right.
that place us? So what? I'm not good enough for your level of success to be a part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
that does something to a woman's thought
does.
process.
It
Yeah.
does.
And I
And
know.
and
Go ahead.
and like the video was saying, it's not such a high percentage. It's
It's
not
not.
as high as we think.
Mm-hmm.
But society and entertainment and sports, all these industries put it out there, and they make such a big to do about it and a big deal about it. So now the little small number seems massive. It seems massive. So so we pose to ask the question: Black women, do they really hate us? Do they really hate us? Where's that coming from? And like he was saying in the video as well, we're programmed to think this. That's been since slavery. That's been way back. We are programmed to feel like we can't get along. We can't agree. We don't need each other. Let's separate the Black family. Let's spread them out. Let's have all the single moms or the single dads, particularly in the business that I do, a lot of single moms. And I was just on the phone today. There's a program in Georgia called CAPS, and it provides assistance for families for childcare. And they put all of this out, but I hate to say it, and it's sad to say that a lot of people stay separated. A lot of the parents stay separated because they say, well, if we're married, I can't have CAPS. I can't get the help. And we all need help. We all need help somewhere financially at some point, someplace. And I was on the phone with one of the directors for the CAPS program today, and we almost got into it. I had to kind of bring myself down, like, y'all playing with people's money and people's lives. But if you think about it, that's the way the system was set up. And it breaks the Black home down. It breaks it down.
Well,
And
that's
I'm
the
not saying
thing.
it's only Black families. I'm not saying it's only Black families that require this assistance. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But based on the topic and the subject of what we're talking about, that's just one of the things that stands out. That's just
Right.
one of the things that stands out.
And I mean, and it's going to start a whole nother discussion and a whole nother story when you go down that, because when you talk about slavery and all of the challenges, division is what is backfiring on them now. Because they figure if we can keep the Black men down, not let them have anything, make these women by themselves, that I don't think they anticipated the growth and the power and the strength and the education that we would still be able to rise up to. But when you talk about CAPS, hearing, well, I don't know if it's anywhere else, but I know Section 8
Yeah.
here used to couldn't have a Black man in the home because you wouldn't qualify for Section 8.
Yep.
Or
Same
AFDC,
thing.
aid to dependent families with children, and they consider the family the mother and the child. So it is by design, but again, I think coming full circle, it's flipped and it's turned into something else that I don't think people saw coming. And
Yeah.
then we're
I'm
looked at
sorry.
wrong
You just-
too if we
I'm
decide to
sorry.
date. We're looked at wrong too if we decide to date other men. We're talked about even then, and it's like, but we're doing exactly what you're doing, potentially for the same reason, but because of the stereotypical view it has, and from where it grew from slavery, being used and abused, taken advantage of, we're not looked at as trophies per se, but something that is disposable, that's usable, that we can take
Yep.
advantage of. So
Yep.
it's a double-edged sword, no matter how you
Well,
slice
they
it.
also know that we as women, or just as a couple, a black, there is so much strength in that unity, and they don't want to see that.
Yeah.
That's not something they want to see.
Yeah.
They want to see us broken. They want to trying to survive. But they know what it looks like when we are standing toe to toe with our counterparts. They know, and they don't want to see that. And that's so sad to say that we don't want to see that.
So I want you to think about the 8 years that we had in power. And I call it we had in power because when Obama and Michelle Obama were in office, I feel like we all were in power, right? So the negative attention and negative jab that they showed, just from caricatures and newspapers to just the blatant disrespect for both Obama as the president and Michelle as the first lady, it showed the vitriol that they have for the idea of an iconic Black family. And as much as the Bill Cosby effect was like this imaginary Black family that they were okay with, to have the President of the United States and the First Lady of the United States be both empowered and well-educated Black people was something that it was very hard for them to take. So when we take that presentation and that media and we look at it for what it was, it should have been something that could have been empowering for us as Black people to draw closer together and to understand that if we work together. And during that period, you heard that I want me a Michelle Obama. You know what I'm saying? That was
Right.
I Barack Obama, and there were a lot of memes that showed, Barack and Michelle in their lowest points, or in what we would consider some of their lowest points, where they were in an apartment and Michelle is changing a diaper and, he hasn't become the man that he was to become. And I think those stories are things that we should instill more in our children to help them to understand that if, like you said, if you have a Black man and a Black woman that are on their game and doing their thing, that they can conquer any mountain and can rise to the highest heights. So
That's right.
what we have the majority of in our media is a broken, dysfunctional representation, right? So when we think about how Black women are portrayed, Black men are portrayed, and how Black men and women interactions are portrayed in the media and in social media, it is primarily a negative representation. And it's like a drug that we feed off of. So when you have that, and then you have the other side of the coin that does stem from slavery, that is associated with socioeconomic status, where you have this Eurocentric idea that's prevalent in the entire world, that this white woman is the status of beauty. You will always have people that are utilizing that as their standard and are attracted to that because that is the world standard for beauty. And it's not just Black men that go to white women when they have gained a certain level of success. It's white, it's Asian men, it's Hispanic men. It doesn't matter. Like, all of them, because of that Eurocentric idea of beauty, all of them gravitate towards that as the standard. So
and even I think that, I apologize, I even think that's stereotypical. Like, they're hypocrites when it comes to that, because you see these white women, they're tall, they're thin, they're, and then, Black women, we got some curves, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you this kind of way when you're at this level, but when you get at this level, no longer for you.
Except
So then what does that do? That's right. So then what does that do to us? It makes us think, I got to change my hips, lips. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all of it.
Everything.
Well, we know that the trend right now is curvaceous figures, right? That and Kim Kardashian kind of brought in that trend for white women, if you will, to have curvaceous hips and buttocks and things of that nature. So you'll find that a lot of white women are in pursuit of that type of body because it's shifted. The beauty standard has shifted from when maybe we were younger, where it was very rail thin, very pale, or more tan, uh, Angelina Jolie lip and curvaceous body now, right? So that is the new beauty standard, but it's a trend because it goes in. I think a lot of these things go in cycles where, if you look back to the 60s and you think about Marilyn Monroe, and she was not a thin woman. She was a thicker woman,
Right.
but it was the beauty
Size
standard
12.
of it. So I think
Yep.
the beauty standard.
She's a size 12, Corey.
So I think that's just something that it does. But the one thing that hasn't changed is the complexion, the color. That has always been the same, regardless of what time period you look at.
So you know
And
what? It
that's the
feels
problem.
like though that whether it be black men or white women have figured out a way to have the best of both worlds, because they figure if they mix, they're going to have, or assume they're going to have, the lighter complexion, the hair,
Mhm.
the curvaceous shape. So they're setting their kids up. It's just like people with money. They're setting their kids up to have the best of both worlds when they get to whatever level they're trying to get to. So,
Right.
I think it's the vicious cycle. I think it's
Mhm.
it's coming full circle now, and it's biting people in the butt in a way that they didn't anticipate that it would.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I wanna go to the point of the separation thing, because it sits heavy with me that we as a black community tend to battle with each other. Like, who's the
Mhm.
head, and I don't need a man, and all of these things that come about. And of course, the foundation of it is just what we're saying. Society is putting out a certain thing that says you don't need this man. And I grew up with all these women, these strong women, and there's nothing wrong with being a strong woman. But when the mindset of the children growing up, even the boys, is my mama was a strong woman. She was the one that held it down. She did this and she did that. And then we have this combativeness with the dad, and I'm not getting along, and he can't come around, and this and that. It just destroys, and it continues to tear down what we need to build up. So how do we help our children deal with that? Like, how do we help our girls who struggle with how they look, and how they're growing up, and what's not acceptable? And even mentioning real quick the movie, um what is it that just came out? The Wizard, the
Wicked.
With
Wicked. Wicked. My sister and I were having a discussion because we were gun ho. We were ready to go see it, and we're still going to see it. But I sent her this video, and the guy was talking about, don't take your black daughters, don't take your girls to see this, because of course the witch, she's green, she's not, beautiful. The other girls are beautiful and whatever. But I kind of thought about it. The Wizard of Oz has always been that, regardless of who played it. But he made a point to say the black actress had to be the wicked one. He was bringing out those points. So um my thing is, how do we get our children not to fall into this? With everything going around, what can we teach them and say to them at home, to our black girls and even our boys? Like, what do y'all think? How do we?
But you know what, Donna? It goes back to what Corey was saying and what Josh was saying. If you keep saying stuff over and over again, people will begin to believe it. There's nothing wrong with being strong, and I think everything comes with balance. If it took two people to make a child, it needs to take two people to input into that child and help the child grow. My father was a big proponent of making sure that I knew how to take care of my car, so that in the event that before I got married or whatever, I went to a mechanic and they weren't going to railroad me. I knew how to change a tire. I knew how to change the oil. I knew how to gap spark plugs because I had seen him do it. It wasn't because I didn't need a man. And I don't think that's
Mhm.
really, I think people take that out of context. I think it's not that we don't
Yep.
need one. It's that together we can be bigger and stronger and have more, but
Mhm.
we can be equal, or we can stand in the gap. My husband, a man might be a great cook and the woman
Mhm.
might not be able to cook.
Mhm.
That doesn't make him any less of a man. That doesn't make her any less of a woman.
Right.
He might be
That's
very
right.
good at balancing the checkbook, and she might not be. She likes to spend. That doesn't make her, any weaker. It doesn't make them any stronger. I think we need to be able to tell our children, develop your strengths. Find somebody who sharpens your iron and that you can sharpen theirs. You don't
Mhm.
have to
That's right.
be over someone in order to prove your prowess and your strength, whether that be male or female. We need to learn how to live this thing together and use those
Education and
strengths.
representation. That's it.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. And that's still not saying that the men shouldn't be the head of the household or anything, but have somebody who you can believe in their leadership.
That's
Yep.
right.
They need to show us that they are able to lead us, that we can trust their leadership. And I think when we see these relationships where the woman says, "Well, I got to be in control, or I got to do this, whatever," she may not have had examples in her life that showed her strong leadership, and so therefore she feels like she can't depend on someone else. And that's the stereotype. That's the situation, the cycle that we need to break, because there's something in her, or that she's seen, or that she's gotten accustomed to where she's not picking correctly, or he's
Mhm.
not picking correctly, or he's not being
Mhm.
developed as he should have been.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sometimes the environment that's created for us, for example, single mothers. Why are we so strong? Ask that question. Why do you think I'm as strong as I am? Because I'm who I have to rely on. I'm who my kids have to
Mhm.
rely on. And when you have that
Mhm.
kind of example, and when you yourself are that example, you have to almost defend why you are responding the way you respond, or
You
why you say,
respond.
I got it, because disappointment is a reality for those lifestyles, right? Or
Mhm.
I thought you were going to help me, you didn't show up for me, so now I got to depend on myself. Those are real issues with women, specifically single parents. They have, the environment has already kind of been created for them, and that's what they have to live through. And some
Right.
women, once they get in that rotation of thinking that way, that's how they thrive. That's where they're best. And that's not necessarily always a great thing, but it is an issue, women that are raising their children by.
Let me
I
bring
think
up
I think
Kevin's
there's an
comment.
expectation issue when it comes to men in single parent situations, right? So I have a 31-year-old daughter, and I was, my daughter's mom and I were not married, but I did do everything in my power to make sure that I was an engaged parent and provided, as much as I could. One of the problems with that whole process is, as much as you are paying child support, nobody is forcing you to engage with your child. And that engagement is very important, because that engagement shows interest and it shows care. Of course,
Yep.
you can pay child support, and that's
That's great.
that's a requirement. That's great, but I think that from a man's perspective, not everybody is as engaged as they should be. The other
Yeah.
part of the problem that we run into is that a lot of children see contention and they recognize it immediately. There's a lot of
Mhm.
contention that takes place. And that's, I think, a lot of single parent households where the parents are not non custodial and custodial need to go through therapy so that they can get past whatever the contention was, because you moved away from the relationship, but you're still harboring the ill will that might have been associated with the relationship that you
Yep.
had before.
And it comes
So,
out on the children.
and it comes out in interactions, and it could be the simplest thing. You know, you're picking up the kids. You might be a little late this time, but because of you're harboring the ill will of past disappointments, it becomes an argument or some type of contention, and then vice versa. You know, all of these things play a role in dropping seeds and expectations for our children, because they're watching your reactions and they're processing them in multiple ways. Number one, they're seeing how you're reacting. They're also internalizing whether or not this is the way that they're supposed to react when in those situations, and they don't
Right.
even understand truly from an adult perspective
What's
what
going
caused
on?
the reaction, right? So they just so let's just say they are acting out later on in a relationship that they may get in when they're 16. They've seen their mother and father act together, and this has become the expectation. So all of these things build dysfunctions within our community because we don't deal with resolving the contentions that were from the relationships that we had in the past. And this is a perpetuated cycle. This is something that
Yeah.
we keep doing as people.
Yeah, and let's take that down a little bit further. Because the way my dad spoke to my mom, a teenage boy or a boy, the way I saw him handle my mom, guess what I'm doing now? All the little girls, all the young ladies, even to my mother, I'm disrespecting her.
Yeah.
And I've started a whole new cycle
Yep.
of why this question comes up. Black women, do they really hate us? Do they really hate us? It just feeds into one thing, into another thing, into another thing. I'm going to spin this a little bit, staying on topic, but bringing another side to it. Corey and I were having a discussion with a friend of ours, a male, and he informed us of this group that's on social media. And Corey, go a little bit into that. What was the name of the group?
The group was called Passport Bros. Passport Bros. See how you let?
Wow.
Okay, Passport Bros is a group of men who have decided that they are going to find love outside of the U.S. Now, keeping with the squeaky wheel gets the oil, a lot of Black men are talking about we got to find somebody outside and outside of the U.S. and they're taking trips to go other places. They got their passports, so they can go and find these women elsewhere. They're more docile. You don't get pushback. You don't get the attitude. You don't get the argument, the fussing, the fighting. You don't get any of that from them. They just do what you ask them to do. And he was invited into this group.
Wow.
So, anybody familiar with that?
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
But it doesn't.
Crystal, you've heard of it?
I didn't realize it was a Facebook group, but I've heard of it in other circles.
Oh, it's
been around for a while, quite a while.
It's a very prevalent group.
So,
yeah.
Joshua, you familiar?
I am very familiar with Passport Bros. Okay. So the idea is that these guys are looking for what they call trad wives or traditional women that, you know, are going to operate within the framework of what the expectation that women are supposed to provide, right? Like they're supposed to be submissive and all of these wonderful, they're supposed to be his peace and just, you know, all of these wonderful ideas that go along with, you know, what women that are not born in the US or born in Western society, what they offer. And I think that in a lot of cases that could be more of a facade in when it comes to the realities of what we deal with in the United States. Yes, they probably, a lot of them are moving to different countries and living their lives out in that country under that idea. But if you're in America and you're interacting with someone that has been through the things that you've been through, I feel like they have a better understanding of who you are as a man, if that's what you want. Now, if you don't want that, you just want something superficial, and you're at the state in your life where that's really what you want, you don't want a deeper relationship, a deeper connection, then yeah, I mean, the Passport Bros makes sense. You're going to go over here to this random country, you're going to get a woman, she's going to do everything, you're going to have more money than she's ever had, you're already going to be in a socioeconomic status, depending on the country you go to, where you're living higher than most people in that country, so you already offer her the financial means that most women that are going to be submissive in the way that you want them to want. So she is definitely going to fit the position, because from a financial standpoint, you provide what she needs, right? So like that's the case if you're going to some of the southern Asian countries where their cost of living is very low.
But you know what? It goes back to mail order brides of the 1950s, 60s.
Yeah, and it's the same principle.
Or GIs getting Asian women as their wives. There's a sense of or belief of control until they become westernized and figured out how to play the
I was
game.
just gonna say, Eddie Murphy said,
I want her
That's
to
right.
be.
I won't have. That's it.
For their point, a lot of them are not bringing them back. A lot of them are just going there and staying.
Yeah. We talked about that too.
So wait. So they go down there, they marry these women, and then they leave them there?
And they leave them, they stay there. No, they stay there.
Yeah, they stay there.
They move there.
Yes, they move there.
Ah.
Yes. So there are a lot of black men and white men and other, races that are expats now. They are transitioning out.
Wow.
And they are living. There's a former GI, I just became friends with him on TikTok. He just married a Dominican woman. He's living in the Dominican Republic now. He has moved to the Dominican. He's trying to invite people to come to the Dominican Republic, and there are a lot of them in Colombia now. Colombia, I think
Cartagena.
Yes,
Cartagena.
a lot of them are going there. That's a big hot spot. Rio de Janeiro used to be a big hot spot for this type of thing.
Bali too.
Bali, yes, Bali's a big hot spot as well. And
wow.
And not Viet. I think Vietnam is really one of them too. Like a lot of them are moving to Vietnam as well. So it's a big thing. It's a growing thing. It goes back to the idea that Western Americanized women are just not feeling fulfilled.
Submissive.
Are not submissive. But I think that I still think that is a small number compared to the men that are having wonderful lives and living happy marriages. And I think that a lot of the things that happens within the Black community is that we do not promote healthy and happy marriages. We just don't. It's not promoted. It's just not promoted.
I'm glad you said that because we still want to push the narrative, not just the narrative, the fact that there are, based on our topic, Black men loving on Black women.
Yep.
Black men loving on Black women. And let me say this. I would dare to say that marrying outside of your race or dating outside of your race is wrong. Would not say that at all.
I wanted to get back to that. I wanted to say, love who you want to love. Everybody, I appreciate the fact that we had the opportunity in today's society where we are not restricted from loving whoever we want to love, regardless of their complexion and any of that. I love who you want to love. But I do believe that a lot of it is programmed. And in order for us to reprogram our community, we have to present healthy and happy marriages as a standard. We have to present that to our children. We have to live and operate in that and get the therapy necessary in order to break down these generational curses and remove the toxicity from our community in order for us to have these healthy and happy marriages. Like, we just got to do it so that our children can see what we want them to see. We have to
That
be
really looks
what
like.
we want
Yeah.
them to see. That's the only way it's going to happen.
I agree. And I'm glad that you said that too. And it is true. Love who you want to love, regardless of what that means. But
That's right.
I hate it when people say this one is better over
Yeah.
this one. That's where the
Yes.
problem for me comes in. Love who you
Yes.
want to love. Don't tell me a white woman is better. Don't tell me an Asian woman, or don't tell me they're more this, they're more that, because that's not true. That's again feeding into that negative stereotype. My husband and I just came back from a marriage retreat weekend where they preached the whole weekend the partnership of marriage, the friendship of marriage. That is what you've got to strive for and look for in your mate, regardless of who that might be. But that's what you need to strive for and look for.
Yep.
I
Yep.
like what you said, Crystal, about not saying one is better than the other.
Mhm.
The issue I had was that with a lot of these passport bros, can't say all of them because I don't know all of them, is that you hear, oh, well, you know, this this woman is not there. I want the trad wife. And these women, these black women, for some reason, it always comes back to black women. I don't know what
Black
we did.
women.
I don't
Right.
know what we did, because the last time I checked, somebody had to be pushed out by a black woman. But it's just me. Talking about, you know, black women are this, black women are that. So I pulled up information on this guy. I remember his name was, he's no longer with us, Christian Toby Abumseli. He was seeing a woman, because they all say, oh, black, well, he would get on social media talking about black women, how we were loud and raunchy and lewd and lascivious. Well, the woman that he was in a relationship with was an OnlyFans model.
Mm.
And she was abusive toward him, and she killed him. And
I remember this.
you guys remember, he was known for, they would get on social media.
Yep.
No one prompted them, and he would just dog black women and say, this is why I love white women, and this is why I love my girlfriend. And when he passed away, his family was asking the black community to rally around him and ask for justice, because the woman had not been arrested. Another guy said, well, I saw him slap her, when it never happened. He just happened to like the woman. But ultimately, the people that his family wanted to come to his rescue were the same ones, black women, who he demeaned and dishonored all this time. Just to say he loved this woman, you had to down this woman. I have an issue with that.
Me too.
I got an issue with the whole trad movement thing, because most of the men, and I said this in the conversation, most of the men, I can't say all of them because I don't know them, who are complaining that these women are non-traditional and I want a traditional woman, they're not traditional men. Because like I said before, historically, traditional men, when they got paid, they gave the check to their wives. They didn't touch it, because the women knew what it took to run the household. Because since her place was in the house, she knew how much it took to clothe, to feed. Some of us had jobs. Some of us were washerwomen and things like that. But we knew it took to run the house. The men didn't, because that wasn't even their purview. Their job was to bring home the bacon so we could fry it up in the pan.
Right up in the pan. That's right.
So people talk about, I want a traditional woman. No, you don't, because you're not traditional. You want to be who you are now, and you want control. And to me, that speaks volumes about the mindsets of some of these men. Not all of them, some of them. But it says a lot, and it's sad, and it hurts.
So there's this idealized mentality that a lot of people have that points to a Leave It to Beaver, June Cleaver type situation. And that situation never existed within the black community to the degree that it did in the white community. Even in that era, it was never as perfect as it was viewed on television, right? It just wasn't. There was a lot of abuse that took place in those households, and nobody ever talked about those things because that wasn't the place for it. So what we see with this trad wife movement is people glorifying something that never actually existed really in society, because it just didn't. It was a fantastical view of something that they wanted to be in place. That's the first thing. The second thing is, going back to what you were saying, you are absolutely correct. My grandfather was a truck driver and a minister, and he brought money home to my grandmother, and she took care of the household. They had 12 kids. So she took care of the household with the 12 kids. And she was a washerwoman, or rather a maid. So she would work as a maid on the side as well. So I totally identify with what you're saying. It actually took place. So I don't think that the people that are making these statements, the ones that are believing that Black women aren't traditional women, or that they don't fit into the traditional mode, I don't think they really understand historically how that has never been the case in the Black community as a whole, and it will never be the case in the Black community. Instead of embracing the tapestry and the color of who we are and working with, instead of working against, and trying to build instead of trying to destroy. And that goes back to what I was saying. Like, we have to figure out a way, if we want our community to succeed, we have to figure out a way to detoxify our community and to detoxify the way that we understand relationships, because we're never going to get anywhere if we don't figure out a way to move past where we are.
Well, Joshua, it goes back to what you were saying too, and I think it was that you were saying where women or fathers were made to feel like if I paid child support, I was doing my part. I think oftentimes some people take the lesser road, the lesser of two evil roads. It's like, and they want to pick and choose the parts of the game that they want to play. But you can't say, oh, I just want to pay child support, but I want to relinquish all my duties and all the responsibilities that goes with that. Because we don't get that option as mothers typically, just because the way we're wired most of the time. And the same thing with this traditional wife thing. You, just like you said, they don't really understand what that means, because they don't want to be the full providers of everything. Men want to be pampered too, and rightfully so, as they should. In a healthy relationship, they should. But you can't say, I'm not going to give you this and I'm not going to give you that, but I want you to give me all of this. There's no balance. We go back to that thing of not having a balance. And I think, I don't know where that poisonous viewpoint is coming from that makes him think that is possible. But yeah, we got to get back to some measure of balance, because there's no balance anymore.
That poisonous ideology came from them being modern, wanting everything without working for it.
For anything, right? That's true. That's true.
Calling us the microwave generation, not us, but
Pop-Tart.
the microwave generation. And with the kids that I have now that I'm teaching, they have no concept of working for something. You need to. You have. I deserve this, right? I'm worth it. I deserve it. And sweetheart, you are more valuable than rubies, but you haven't done anything.
Well, and it's funny you
said nothing.
It's funny you should say that, because I have kids 30 and 35 right now that feel like they want to be right here, because I bent over backwards giving them everything and making sure their life was comfortable, as did their village, my parents and friends that helped me raise them. Not understanding the concept. The average child that's getting on a whole nother subject stays on the job 2 or 3 years max, and they rolling out. There is no 501k. There is no savings, but they see all this stuff in videos, what was the MTV Cribs and all of that came out with all these flashy cars and jewelry and all this stuff that you could have. And they were young, relatively young, but nobody talks about what you have to work for to get that, or what you've got to pay to keep that. And so
That's right.
I again,
and nobody tells them that all of that was fake. Like, there was a documentary about it recently that said everything, all of it, the entire MTV thing, every last one of those was fake, was staged. It was all staged. It was
Staged.
never real.
And when they were living that life to some extent, because being out here in LA, I got to know a lot of people who perpetuated and pretended to have that life. A lot of stuff was leased, and it was
Yes.
fine until the payments
Mhm.
came, and then
Yep.
you saw repossessions left and right.
Yeah.
So it again, this imagery that's shown is giving people a false sense of confidence and comfort. Again, that illusion of inclusion that's not really real, and nobody talks about the realness of it.
Right.
Right. Right. Rose, I know you have to go, my dear. I appreciate you. I appreciate you
Yeah.
joining. We're gonna say goodnight
Good
to Rose, you guys. Did you want to
good
say
night, you
something
guys. It
before
was
you left, Rose?
great.
You good?
No, I'm good. I'm just glad that I was able to come on and listen to all this wisdom and perspective. It's always good to see it from a different view. So until next time, you guys have a blessed week, and I'll
All
see
right.
you next week.
Rose.
All right, babe. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, the point came up a few times about child support
Mm.
and how paying child support and giving child support is seems like the all end. And it just rolls into, the things that Crystal was saying. Um, telling men, men being patted on the back. Oh, I pay child support. I pay child support. You hear that. And you hear that. So it's like, okay, um, what do you do outside of that? Like what happens after that? What happens after the fact? What happens after the fact? When what's his name? Um what's his name have all the kids?
Uh,
Uh
Nick
Nick
Cannon.
Cannon. Nick Cannon. And you would hear that narrative. Oh, he can afford it. He can afford them. That just shows that mentality right there.
You
That
cannot.
mentality right there that, all it takes is to throw some money at it and it'll
And
be okay.
The
It'll be
energy of
okay.
it. But I,
And
I,
this
I,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I scoff at the fact that they say he can afford it. Living the level of lifestyle that he lives, and the baby, the mothers of those children, and that he wants to give them. No, I don't really. He has to work because if he stops working, he's not gonna be able to
He's
afford
not
it.
going to be able to afford it. No.
And then
Mhm.
on top of that, I don't care what you say. There can be no value, no monetary value put on the effort and energy it takes to properly raise
Yeah.
an educated child. There just isn't. There just isn't.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Who's
Mhm.
Tyreek Hill? Is a basketball player?
Who?
No, he has, I think, 13. I think he's a football player. I'm pretty sure he's a football player.
Yep. Yep.
No, hold on. No, that's Antonio. That's Antonio. I think that's Antonio Brown. There are a couple of them that have like ridiculous
Yeah, but who
amounts
is
of
Tyreek?
kids. But Tyreek is
Mhm.
young. He's younger now. He's a younger guy that like one of the fastest guys in the NFL. So yeah, he just had
He's the
another kid. I think doesn't he have a kid with Drya? I think
And
he's
Oh,
so
Drea. Okay.
yeah, Drea. I think he's the one that's with Drea.
yeah. Yeah.
He's an injury
But
away from being broke.
Exactly.
yep. But there's that narrative. There's that narrative. You
And
throw some
Drea
money at it.
that has been linked with a lot of different, again, like I was saying about the same type of person. She's not white, but she still falls into a category of an archetypal person
Mhm.
that has been moved around through a particular circle where all of the guys feel like
Miami Dolphins.
Miami
that
Dolphins.
is their standard. So
Wow.
It's yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole
Corey,
nother-
again, like
Yeah.
these are
My head
the
hurt.
men that we're talking about that there are two sets of men, I believe, and I wish I had some more brothers on here that can kind of talk about this with me, and it just kind of convey it from a man's perspective. I believe that black men at the core love black women. I mean, we love everything about Black women. I do. I believe that we love your passion. I believe that we love your energy. I believe that we love your education, and I believe that we love your capacity to love us. I don't believe that there is a woman on earth that can love a Black man better than a Black man. I mean, than a Black woman. There isn't a woman on earth that can love, because nobody understands our rhythm and our blues the same way that a Black woman does. Nobody has had to experience the same type of discrimination and racism the way that a Black woman has. So most Black men have that understanding and desire Black women. So we don't hate you. We love you. There are groups of us that have had bad experiences with specific types of women and have closed their minds off to Black women as if they've had relationships with all Black women. Again, there are 42 million Black people in this country, 42 million. So let's say you had 10 bad relationships with Black women. Now you're done with Black women. When Black women are like, it's like a 60-40 split anyway. 42 million is probably 25 million Black women. So you're off of Black women because you had 10 bad relationships. And I think that is where we run into the problem, is that it's very short-sighted when you think about how many people are here. You've not dated every type of Black woman, number one, and you've definitely not dated all Black women, number two. So you haven't even dated all the Black women in your city. Never happened.
Right.
I don't know if you're Wilt Chamberlain. You haven't dated all the Black women in your city. And so what we have is men are very, some of these men, again, small number, are very short-sighted in how they pursue relationships. They're very short-sighted in how they look at Black women, and they're taking a stereotypical view of what Black women have to offer in general. There's a diversity of personalities and socioeconomic levels when it comes to Black women. Not every Black woman has an attitude.
Right.
Not every Black woman is ghetto or whatever you consider a negative in women. Not every Black woman. There are bohemian Black women that are the flower children, and they will be your peace. And then there are the ones that they got the most stank attitude in the world, and they gonna tell you off every time you say something out of line. It's a smorgasbord of personalities. So, and again, it's 25 million of them. And there are a lot of them that fall into the category that you want them to fall into. But because you have made up in your mind that you only get this type,
say that
you will only get this type. I saw a post, and it was talking about a woman, and she said the only kind of guys I get are F-boys. And her friend said to her, "You're beautiful, so there are a lot of people that want you, so that means that you're only choosing F-boys, right?" In reverse, a lot of these men are only choosing the type of women that they're getting, because at the end of the day, you choose to pursue, right? Don't we? We choose who we pursue. And so if you're choosing to pursue this particular type and you are attracted to this particular type, maybe you need to change your attraction, but you can still date Black women, because not all of them are going to be that way.
Right.
Well, it's like they say, what you believe is true. If you say that I'm only always going to lose, I'm never going to have, then if that's what you believe, then that's what's true for you. If that's what you choose to believe.
Absolutely.
And you have to change your mindset. You have
to put this comment up. I have to put this comment up. Uniquely Made said, I think it stems from the relationship they had with their mother. Then they run across a few bad apples, or black women gave them a hard time in school because they haven't glowed up yet.
I mean, that's
Any of
can't
that, a
I can't
combination of
argue against that because yeah, I can see that, but I think that we
it's just
I think that we grow up, right? Everybody grows up, right? Because like
Mhm.
you can't stay stuck there. I mean, I was a nerd. I wore glasses in high school. I was not somebody that was super athletic, so I wasn't attracting, particular types of women, but my story didn't end at high school. So,
But exposure is
Right.
everything. Exposure is
exposure
everything.
is
And
everything.
most people
Yeah,
feel like they're afraid of what they don't know, so they deal with what they're used to.
What they
correct.
used to.
It happens in abusive relationships.
Woo.
It
Yeah,
happens in every demographic that you can think of. But you
yes,
have to be willing to step out of that box, your comfort
yeah,
zone. Do something, see something different. I used to tell my children all the time, go out and see something other than your own backyard because it's going to always be here.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I
and
agree.
you've gotta want to do something different, something better than what
Yeah,
you're seeing. You got to believe
Yeah.
it's possible.
you got to
Yeah.
believe it's possible.
I love it. I love it. So we usually wrap up with everybody kind of giving their closing comments. I'm going to cease and desist tonight because Joshua laid it down. Can y'all agree, ladies? Is that okay?
I agree.
You said a lot, Joshua, and now I understand why you needed to be here tonight. Whether it was one man on or all or five or the rest of them, I think you did a really, really good job of laying down an understanding to us as black women what that looks like coming from a black man. And it's appreciated. Um, I don't want us to lose sight of what's healthy and what it takes to get to that point. And what it takes to get to that point. Kevin is our weekly comedian, Joshua. So we try for
Kevin's
every
saying, so I'm watching what he's saying. He's saying some
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
I like
yeah,
how
yeah.
he'll come. I was like, oh man, I ain't even thought about him, and he just got him and Dryo are going because that's a whole different. Again, it goes back to toxicity because that whole situation it's insanity. She's in her ex's house and like he's evicting her, but she's carrying Tyreek Hill's baby, but he's not moving her in. So it's just there again, but
Woo.
it goes back to the toxicity. Like she's about to bring a baby in the world and she already has an older son that's about Tyreek Hill's age. It's the whole situation is full on toxic.
Kevin. Kevin is something else. Kevin is something else.
And keep
He
in mind,
said, Josh,
YouTube is a little bit behind, so these comments are they're slightly delayed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I see that. I see that it came in as delayed. But again, delay or not, I know everybody got what Mr. Presley said.
Mhm.
I know everybody got what he said, and Joshua greatly, greatly appreciate it. Ladies, I appreciate y'all as well. We had a kind of calm, quiet night, but that's all right. That's all right. It was good. It was good. It was great. It was really great. I appreciate y'all being here. So I don't want to. I know I said kind of shut it down to that. Did anybody have anything they wanted to close with? I just thought about that thing. I don't want to necessarily there may be some thoughts brewing that because I see Corey kind of moving around a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Here goes.
I
I
knew
think
it.
there's an answer to this, but it's not an easy one. The answer to this problem of, us loving each other, black man, black woman, and appreciating ourselves as a people, we gotta flush out all that negative stuff. A lot of things are happening because we subscribe to them. We spend a lot of money to be told we are not pretty, we're not beautiful, we're unattractive, nobody wants us, nobody likes us, men and women. If we shut that out, honestly, I might not like me for it, somebody watching, but I don't care. Based on my research as a historian, I believe that desegregation did a number on us. We loved ourselves and depended on each other much more and had more of a sense of community when we were not allowed to be with other folk. So sometimes I'm just a separatist. Not that I don't like everybody else, but I feel like
Gotcha.
keep the house in order first. If we
Gotcha.
had something where we rebuilt communities or we fortified our communities, kept our dollar within it. I remember my mom bought me YSB magazine, Young Sisters and Brothers magazine. Y'all remember that? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I thought I was the only one because nobody ever knows what I'm talking about.
Yes,
She
I've
bought me
read-
that magazine, and it was Black youth cover
Yeah.
to cover.
yeah,
After you read it at the end, there were some puzzles. It was like a regular magazine. There were puzzles and
Yep.
crosswords. I loved those. I
Yep.
loved them. And I guess when print went out, it went out as well. But I had all of these resources. I was in African National Rites of Passage when I was in high school. I was in the African dance class. I saw so many Black people around. I mean, my mom integrated schools. She was born in 1953, so she made sure I had this knowledge of self and our people. So it's frustrating for me to see these things happening. And I feel like if we just honed in on ourselves, lifted each other up, we'd be all right. We'd be all right. But
There's
some of us
nothing wrong
are
with that.
some of us are too just satisfied with partying and BSing, like the last poet said, or it's
Well, you know what, Corda, to piggyback on that, I'm somewhat of a separatist in myself. And when I used to hear the term colorblind or I don't see color, I needed to see color. Seeing color is just fine because when you say you don't see color, you don't see me. That's what I mean.
right.
So I don't have a problem with seeing color. I would rather know what all is out there than to make everything just blanket and nothing.
That's right.
So I totally agree with that. You talk about your mom integrated schools, so did I. I remember growing up, I went to a literally all-white school system. Literally. My sister was the first, I was the second. I remember only ever using the peach crayon because I didn't want to use brown because everybody else would notice I would be different. So when I grew up, I made sure my children had Black art. I made sure we went to plays. I made sure we went and did stuff. Now I put them in a really good school system, but I made sure they knew they were Black first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I did not want them to ever be ashamed or lose their identity because of that. Because I realized and remember what it did to me as a child coming up from kindergarten till I graduated. We had 246 people in my graduating class. I was the only Black person.
Wow. Yeah. My mom is big on our history. She's big on it. Like it's almost like scrapbooking for her grandchildren. All of the grandchildren have a handmade scrapbook by grandmommy of Black history.
Wow.
Like to help us to know and I love it. And I love it. She does that for them. And she, promotes that to understand who we are and where we're from. And, not just from that standpoint, but who we are as Black people, as children of God. Like she hones in on that. And she, all the grandchildren, it's so funny. They used to send, her and my dad used to send all the grandchildren gift cards for Christmas. And I'm like, them baby's not gonna get them gift cards. So it wouldn't just be a gift card, but it's a Bible and a gift card. A Bible. So now I just been hearing Bibles lately, and so I said, I guess they thinking about taking them gift cards and getting the Bibles, which makes sense. But there always has to be something about us as a people
Mhm.
that's in that. And I love that. And even though we aren't big on certain areas of Black history in my household necessarily, she always brings that back for everybody though. She always brings that back for everybody. And I love that. So I'm gonna end this tonight, y'all, by saying Black women, yeah, they love us. They don't hate us. They love us. But it requires two. If the relationship is going to be healthy, and we have to remember the same hurt that we dealt with is the same hurt our Black men dealt with.
Mm.
And they get it from a different way than we do. So, sisters, when you can make that king feel like a king, make him feel like a king. And I know we have not always done that. I can just speak for myself because I'm the come up queen. I'm the one that got it and kept it and knew how to run it and still runs it. And I had to learn that I can't butt heads with that brother, regardless of what level he's on. Now, if he come and he acting like a fool and a nut, then I gotta deal. We all have to deal with people the way they come to us. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. But if we can look at that grand picture, and that's to build those healthy, loving relationships, and to know that we're not always going to like each other, but we can always love each other, we can keep that thing strong. We can keep that thing strong. Okay. I don't want to leave anything out. Corey, where are we? Um, he started with she was saying that there was some comments that was really. Let me just put this up. Is this what we're talking about, Corey?
That and the one before. But that's why I posted what I posted in our private chat.
Okay. Okay. So I don't want to leave this out. Do we want to the one before? Do we want to pop that one up?
Oh.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
We can't leave yet.
Okay, where y'all help me out. What are we looking at?
What am I missing? What am I missing?
Yeah,
That
this last
buck breaking got your homies taking care of each other better than their baby mamas
Wait,
and
hold
kids.
on. Let me put it up. Let me put it up. Okay. What did he say?
Oh, I
Read
didn't
it,
see that
Corey.
part. I didn't see that part. It says that buck breaking got your homies taking care of each other better than baby mamas and kids going to prison on purpose and stuff. Ha ha ha. Super not women centered.
Oh
Yeah.
wait.
I
This
didn't see
is
that
who
part.
is
I just saw the top part.
Steve? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, Steve, I thank you for
That took a hard
commenting
left.
Yeah,
and
I was just
yeah.
talking about
A whole different direction right there.
that
Yeah.
definitely is.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I thank you for chiming in. Everybody has their opinion. Everybody has their thought. Everybody has their experience. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, yeah. Everybody has their experience and their thought. All right, y'all. So, again, we leaving with the mindset of Mr. Presley. That's what we leaving with tonight.
That's awesome.
You
All right,
represented well,
y'all.
Joshua.
Thank you
You
for
represented well.
joining us. Crystal, Joshua, Corey, sit tight for me. Let's say goodnight to everybody, though. Good night,
Good night, everybody.
everyone.
Have a good one.